Man, I was talking to a player in the comments, man. Appreciate y'all, everybody who's tuning in, man. It's a great time to be tuned into the Bacon Nammy to the Just As a News podcast, man. We got a special guest on, man. Before we get into that and reveal everything, I'm letting Nige do. This is his guest, so I'm letting him break the ice, man. So I'm gonna bring on my co-host, the man of the hour, the man, the myth, the legend. You know what I'm saying, Najee Wilkins, man.
What's going on, everybody, man? Happy Thursday. What's going on? Happy Friday Eve.
Yeah, man, it's a lot going on, man. So, brother, you got a special guest on, man. Like the basketball podcast is about to take wings and fly to the highest level, man. So, introduce the man of the hour.
Yeah, man, one of the best coaches in the state of Georgia, man. He's been a great, obviously, friend of mine. One to work close with. I've been to his New Year's Classic. I think one of the best. Like I said, the state has to offer. So I'm happy to have him on, man. Coach Geoffrey Pierce of Grayson High School. So we'll bring him on. What's going on, Coach?
What's happening? Y'all good?
Everybody good, man. Yes, sir. How's everything been, man? How the offseason been for you?
Man, it's been good, man. Young hungry group, man. They've been working real hard. The offseason's been really good to us.
For sure. Now, Coach, obviously, last year I know it didn't go how you wanted to, but I want to revisit real quick just 2024, bringing that first ever state championship to Grayson. Obviously, accumulation of a lot of great talent and players, but what did that moment kind of mean to you, Coach, being able to, all your hard work of years and years of preparation finally kind of coming to fruition?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like it was good to be able to finally check that box or whatever, but I was just happy. I was really happy for the players, man. They really came together and sacrificed a bunch. A lot of individual accolades and glory or whatever for the common good, man. I was just really proud of how they were able to kind of do that. It's hard for teenagers to kind of see past the individual stuff, right? But they kind of figured out early on, like, if we win, everybody can eat. You know what I mean? So I was really happy for them and the community and things of that nature. My son, he had broken his leg, so he was in a full leg cast. He was sitting behind the bench. I was happy, to share that moment with him as well.
100%, Coach. And then obviously going to last year, what were some biggest things you think you learned as a head coach? Didn't necessarily hit the goal you wanted, but I think a team that matured down the stretch of the season. Again, not necessarily the result you wanted, but what were some big things you learned as a coach that can help you going forward?
Just to me personally, just to kind of like, seize the moment, enjoy the moment, right? Like it's kind of hard, every year, you go into it with high expectations for yourself, right? Like I'm not really, like I was telling the guys today, pressure's a privilege, right? Like if you feel not necessarily pressure, but like expectations, you know what I mean? If folks expect things from you, that means, they think you're good or you've accomplished some things, right? So, I think a lot of time us as coaches, we're so focused on, the destination, right, that we don't stop and really enjoy the journey, so to speak. So I think if there's something I could take from last year, just try to enjoy the journey a little bit more, and just appreciate the journey more for sure.
Certainly. All right, Coach. Let's talk about the offseason. Obviously, if you did, Coach, let me know. But GBC, a lot of people don't know, is obviously very big. It's a group thing. You have to go out there and compete in front of college basketball coaches. So, how did that session go? And what were you most impressed with as we kind of hit that stretch of the season about to begin with that group and how they've matured from that process?
Yeah, like I said, we've got a younger group. Like we got three seniors that we expect to play well for us, but got some younger guys. MJ Curry's only a junior. Austin Leonard's a freshman. Ja'Cory Thompson's a freshman. And a lot of and then the rest of the guys, they were on sub varsity last year. So I was very happy with their effort and their energy and their willingness to compete. A lot of times younger guys don't understand or quite grasp how important it is to compete every possession, right, regardless of what the score is. And I thought we were ahead of the curve in that regard and what my expectations coming into the summer. So I was happy with that. They've been working hard. They've been playing hard. and they seem to get along really well from 1 to 14. So that stuff right there is organic. You can't really manufacture chemistry and camaraderie. So I was pleased with that for sure.
Tell us a little bit about MJ Curry, coach. Obviously, he's getting older, junior now for you, so I'm sure he's taking a bigger role. What have you been impressed from him, and what he's been able to do so far?
Just his leadership, man. He's doing a really good job, leading the group, growing into that role as a leader. And high expectations for himself. You can coach him hard, like I coach him really hard, but his he was, you can tell like he was raised by, his dad did a good job in regards to like he's always gonna make eye contact with you, regardless, like, because me, I'm really hard on these guys. I get to yelling sometimes, but he never folds up. He just takes the coaching and tries to apply it. And then I was surprised, well, not surprised, but I've been thoroughly impressed with his defense. I think like everybody knows he can score the ball and things of that nature. He's one of the best in the state at putting the ball in the basket. But I think he's going to be provided a platform, with our schedule and everything to kind of show, how elite of a defender he is, like on the ball, off the ball. I believe he's led the group in charges taken this fall. So and you sometimes you don't see that with kids, as highly recruited as him, willing to give their body up, to take charges in fall league, right? But he's going to play the right way. And, I've been thoroughly impressed with, just his approach to the game.
For sure. Now, coach, I want to unpack a couple of things. First, I want to ask you. Obviously, said a very young group, 3 seniors on this group. Tell me about some guys we need to watch out for Grayson this year. Obviously, the main guys, and then tell me about some underdogs, some underrated guys we need to pay attention to.
Um, I think Don Thomas, I think he was about 18 a night last year at Maynard Jackson. Donovan Thomas, Malik Rideout, another senior. He was first team all region last year. And then Tyler Williams, he's a senior for us. He's been a 4-year guy. He's kind of waited his turn, and he's played really well for us from the summer on. He's played really well. Been doing a good job leading the group. And then I mentioned before Austin Leonard, freshman. He's got a chance to be really really good. He works real hard. He's another kid you can coach real hard. Rebounds the ball at an elite level as well. Usually from the perimeter spot with guys that young, they don't really understand how important like rebounding and all that other stuff is. But he's an elite rebounder on defensively and offensively. Um, and then I think Ja'Cory Thompson has a bright future as well, another freshman. So
Okay, coach, gotcha. And then you talked about kind of the schedule. So you guys always usually play. Correct me if I'm wrong, coach, but a national schedule play the best of the best. So how does this year look? Tell me about some of the premier matchups and who are some of the teams you're going to play this year?
um yeah, we're gonna be in Sean Williams on the radar event, the Jared Cook Classic, the Hawks Naismith Classic. We're going to Tennessee to play against Melissa High School. They got a top 20 kid named I believe his name's Austin. Really good player. Archbishop Carroll, we're gonna be in DC playing them MLK weekend. Then year in and year out, our region is one of the toughest regions in the state. So we just try to put the guys in position to not only be seen by college coaches in the events we sign up for, but just try to get them battle tested for the postseason. Because at the end of the day, you can try to pad your schedule with wins and all that, but I mean, if they're not battle tested heading into the postseason, mess around and fold. You know what I mean? When the going gets tough, you know what I'm saying? They haven't really, we just try to make sure we feel, or we schedule as competitively as possible, and then make practices and things of that nature as competitive as possible as well.
For sure. And then you still having your New Year's Classic that you usually have at Grayson?
Absolutely, absolutely. January 3rd, got some premier matchups, some heavy hitters. McEachin will be out. Um, North Oconee, Tri City, Cedar Grove, Gainesville, Decatur, Central Gwinnett. We got about 4 or 5 more teams. It's gonna be a really good event this year for sure. Yeah, we've done a couple of the matchups early, but one thing we like to do, we like to kind of wait until late November, early December to kind of get the matchups together, just to try to make it as competitive as possible. You never know, so there might be injuries or like you said earlier, some hidden gems step up that you might not have known about, and the team's playing well. So we just try to make the matchups as competitive as possible, just to give teams good games to kind
100%. It's always one of the best ones. Facts. Yeah, it's always one of the best ones I've been to, Coach. My last one before I throw it to Bacon. Obviously, season approaching. Just tell us a little bit about some of them core principles that the players have to kind of uphold to play for you.
I'm sorry, what you said?
I said, tell us about some of the core principles the players have to kind of uphold to play for you.
Man, with us, we're just trying to.
Can you hear him, Bacon? Hard to hear you, Coach. I think he's frozen. Bacon, I think you're muted.
Good call, brother. Yeah. It was real choppy. It was real in and out. He's probably gonna come back in though. There he is.
Coach Pierce, bring him back.
Sorry about that, man. Drop bad area, I guess.
No worries, Coach. But you was talking about the principles. Yes, sir.
Man, just competing every day, working as hard as you can on and off the court. They know we don't like getting emails from their teachers, saying they're not performing up to their abilities, so to speak. Just representing that G to the highest of their abilities. You know what I mean? Don't do anything to embarrass the program, but just competing every day. We're just trying to get them ready for their next stop. Like, not only just, I don't know, we just try to get them ready for the next stop. Like, you see a lot of our guys that move on to the next level, they're usually ready to contribute once they earn their spot in the rotation at the next spot. And then we're just trying to get them ready for life too. A lot of these guys, live in a fantasy world, and, we just try to let them know, like, nobody's going to give you anything once you leave your parents' house. So, just compete in everything, whether it's at the job, in the classroom, on the court, whatever. You know what I mean? Just try to do the best of your ability, be the best you at all times.
Go ahead, Bacon.
Yeah, 100%, Coach. That's the harsh reality that you gotta lean on these kids. But for you, what I mean, it's like you get here recently, you're getting a new group every year. So how has that been in kind of shape and mold? Maybe the style of coaching to the players, or are you more, like you said, straightforward, like everybody's got to come in and fit my system?
Yeah, like, schematically, you'll try to run your offense and defense tailored to your talent or whatever, right? But going hard every day and competing and doing your schoolwork and staying out of trouble, those are non-negotiables. I don't care. We don't care what the roster's makeup is, right? Like, those are non-negotiables. You know what I mean? If you're gonna play at Grayson, you're gonna have to compete and work hard every day and stay out of trouble and get your schoolwork done. Like, those are non-negotiables. And like I said, schematically, the last couple years we played a little fast, but we had a really good front court. We're gonna throw the ball inside the big boy, Amir. But now this year it's gonna be more guard centric. We're gonna get back to playing a little bit faster offensively and defensively. But like I said, those non-negotiables aren't ever gonna change. Not as long as I'm coaching.
100%. Where did you get those values? You know what I'm saying? That where you gonna we have to carry ourselves a certain way in order to play on this team. Did you get that from a prior coach? You know what I mean? Where did you get that from?
Yeah, no, the coaches I played for, kind of had that approach. My first high school job, I worked for a guy, Billy Davis, at Meadow Creek, for about 6 years. Those were non-negotiables, because we can't, like, I can't say with a straight face, like, if a coach calls me and asks, because the days of coaches calling, asking about the statistics and all that, they don't care about that anymore. You know what I mean? They want to know what kind of kid they're getting. You know what I'm saying? Like, does the kid work hard? Is he a good teammate? How the people he hangs around? What are his parents like? You know what I mean? So, you know, so one of the reasons why, I mean, we hold them to such a high standard off the court is because, it's harder recently with the transfer portal to get kids recruited. So a lot of times coaches are looking for reasons not to recruit a high school kid. So we just try to make sure our kids, off the court stuff won't be a reason why you're not recruited. If you're not recruited, it's just because you're not good enough to play at that school.
Nah, that's facts. Personally, what are you doing like to get? It's a wild, wild west. Like you just had two kids that just transferred out to prep school, but just how are you preparing yourself? You know what I'm saying, year after year, knowing that possibly I'm gonna have to retool and get this team back to the G standard.
Um, like I said, man, the standard is the standard. So,
Right.
you know, all the movement and stuff, that's not really gonna change. Like that's usually like a trickle down effect because you're seeing it in college now. So I think it's good for the players to kind of experience it some at the high school level. You know what I mean, to get them ready for college. But my mindset is, um, we're gonna coach who's here. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna coach them hard. We're gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? And just get them ready for the next stop, like year in and year out. And then you kind of lean on the guys that have been in the program for a minute to kind of echo whatever sentiments the coach has about how things are supposed to go. Because I tell every group every year, like, yeah, I'm the head coach or whatever, but this is y'all's team, right? So we're gonna go as far as y'all want to take it, as far as y'all want to lead it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I got to lead the team, we're not gonna reach our goals.
Absolutely. So, who would you say? I know you talked about Marcus kind of stepping into that leadership role, but who would you say outside of Marcus is becoming that player on that second coach on the court?
Like I said, Tyler Williams, he's a senior, 4-year kid. He kind of knows the ins and outs of how we like to do things here at Grayson. So he's done a really good job, kind of leading by example for the younger guys and whatnot. And then, believe it or not, you know, Austin Leonard, he's leading by example every day. He's putting in work. But yeah, if I had to single somebody out, it'd definitely be Tyler Williams.
Okay. Okay. So those three guys are carrying the load for you. Specifically, back to you, coach. Um, what is your? I know you talked about you changed up. You know, what I'm saying to fit your personnel, but what is if you could describe your coaching style in a couple words? What would you say?
Um, Man, we just like I said, competition, man. We gonna compete every possession. Like you hate us or love us. When you play us, you're gonna have to play for 32 minutes for sure. Just challenging the kids every day to be mentally and physically tough. I don't like I feel like, and this is just my opinion. I mean, everybody talks about dogs and all that. Like I think you're either a dog or you're not, right? But at the end of the day, you can still kind of become better and learn how to be more mentally tough, more physically tough. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my coaching style, man. Just we're gonna compete and just be relentless. We're gonna work hard, like was from the time we step on the court to the time we step off.
Absolutely, coach. You know what I'm saying? I want to dive in more of your little bit of your story. You know what I'm saying? If you let me, you say you started or was that Metal Creek on
Hmm.
your journey to Grayson? You know what I'm saying? What was that process before Grayson? You know what I'm saying? What for you personally, what do you feel like were the necessary keys for you that got you to coaching at one of the most prestigious schools in the state of Georgia?
Um, Man, just putting in that work, man. Billy Davis, he kind of empowered me to he kind of expedited my learning curve on the job. Kind of gave me some responsibilities I might not have been ready for when he gave them to me, but I'll always appreciate him for that. And then Grayson, when I took the job at Grayson, boy, we were like the school opened in 2001. I did the research, like I think the number was like 136 games under 500, right? So we kind of had to stack them days. We came in, we went, I think it was 13 and 13 first year. That was like a school record, you know what I'm saying? And everybody was all excited. And it's like, nah, bro, like this ain't it. You know what I'm saying? We got to get better. So just I think just the process, you got to fall in love with the process, man. You just got to keep grinding, and don't really pay attention to what anybody else has going on. You know what I'm saying? You got to run your own race. So that's the best advice I could give anybody coming up.
100%. So to take a program that's 100+ games under 500 to now being a beacon where, saying, high profile, parents, that entrust you with not only growing their kids as a on-court athlete, but as growing them as a man. So how did you, continue to push that needle?
Just like I said, just being, I don't want to say, I guess I could say, just being demanding. One thing I tell the kids, man, we're gonna make you the best version of yourself. Like I'm not into comparisons and all that. Like I got a relative. He always says comparison's the thief of joy, right? And it
Absolutely.
is. You know what I'm saying? You gotta run your own race and just be focused on getting better, become the best version of yourself, and that takes time. You just got to make deposits every day. If you love this, right? Like if you're trying to do it for real. And then, like I said earlier in life, it ain't gonna get no easier. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of condition your mind now. I'm gonna go grind and get it. You know what I'm saying? I watched my parents do it, for years coming up. So, you know what I'm saying? You gotta, if you want something, you gotta go get it.
Absolutely. What is there? Do you want an opportunity to coach at the collegiate level and beyond, or you strictly high school for your career?
Man, I don't know. I can't. I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now. You know what I'm saying? My son, he's playing now. You know what I'm saying? So, when kids are involved, you kind of gotta, what I mean, the decisions you make kind of what's best for them. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm good. I'm good right now. Grayson takes care of me, man. I like where I work, but you know what I'm saying? We'll see.
I'm saying last couple of questions about throw it back to Najee, man. This coach, you got to talk about your playing days, coach. You know what I'm saying? Was you like that? Was you cut different?
Nah, man, I was all right, man. You know what I'm saying? I had a little pull up, you know what I'm saying, defended or whatever. I was all right, you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? You know what I'm saying? I did hold my teammates accountable though, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's where the whole, this is y'all's team comes from in my mind, you know what I'm saying? I've always felt like my teams that have done the best were kind of led by the players, you know what I'm saying? So
Right.
just, just holding your teammates accountable without being disrespectful. Sometimes you got to be disrespectful as one of the captains or whatever if you want to get your point across as a teammate, man. But just, just holding cats accountable, man, working hard. That was kind of my spiel.
100%. 100%. Last set of questions, coach. I got to ask, you know what I'm saying? This from observing you, know what I'm saying? I've been around you a couple times, even on here. Real stern, you know what I mean? To the point. It said, where does that come from?
Stoic.
One
Stoic,
thing
yeah.
I learned, just from being like when I first started teaching at Meadow Creek, I learned you were able to kind of, when there's no gray area, like when you straight up with these young men, man, they respect you more. You know what I'm saying? They
Yeah.
might not like what you have to say at the time, right? But you know what I mean? They always gonna say I kept it 1,000 with them. You know what I'm saying? So I just always felt like, yeah, I'm a be demanding. I'm gonna be hard on you. I'm gonna let you know when you mess up, but when you do well, I'm gonna be the first one, at center court dapping you up when another team call timeout. You know what I'm saying? So just just being there for them, man. Like you can, it's one thing to hold them accountable, man, but when they need you and you can help them, man, you know what I mean, just remember what you're doing it for, man. The real good coaches, man, that even if they're not in the mindset right now, when they started, it was for the kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's still my main thing, man. Just trying to do what I can to help them. You know what I mean? I had some strong coaches in my life and teachers and all that kind of helped me get to where I was, and I still had, I had my dad and my stepdad. They were very involved in my life, right? But what I mean, I'll never forget like the bonds I had with like various like teachers and coaches and things of that nature, man. So, just being there for them on and off the court whenever I can. You know what I mean? I kind of enjoy that part.
I'm saying spoken like Dave Thompson. Go ahead, Naj.
So coach, obviously, I know you're somewhere right now. Obviously, I think your son's playing at Swanee Sports Academy. Tell me about the event he's playing in, man, and how cool it is to see and kind of pass on to the next generation all your basketball acumen.
Man, my son, man, he loves it, man, and he really enjoys being around the team when he's not playing, man. I'm one of the reasons why it's good that we're doing well. He kind of can like be around it and see what type of work is put in, right? Like a lot of folks, they come see the games and they're like, well, they're winning, they're talented or whatever, but they don't really see how much work is actually put in to kind of perform at the level we perform at, game in and game out. So just for my son, he just got into sixth grade. Just him being around it on a daily basis, I think it's really helped with his development just as a young man.
For sure. And then how cool is it for you, coach, to see obviously, like you said, talented group, but you have these guys to a certain standard, the G standard, and seeing them go on and flourish at the next level, right? This year will be Jacob Wilkins you get to watch, Jakari Harris at Purdue. So many players
Yeah.
have come to the program. Tell me a little about that.
Man, you know what, man? I enjoy, what I'm saying, being able to cut the TV on and seeing them do their thing, or somebody hitting me up like, "Hey, man, such and such out there balling, man. Turn to whatever." Like, what I mean, I really do enjoy that. You know what I mean? But like when they come back in the gym and put in that work and kind of pour into the next group, man, like I really enjoy that part, man. It kind of like it's kind of like Lion King, like with the circle of life, right? Like they come back and what I'm saying, they pour that wisdom into the next group, man, and then they do it as well. Like I tell them, your legacy is what you leave behind, right? So what I mean, just they own it, man. They own it, and
Not again. It's that connection, that Swanee, man.
Swanee Sports Academy. Gotta love it.
Swanee Sports Academy. Can't live with it, can't live without it. Home. The home, or one of the homes of the Tip Off Classic, man. Let's see, but now we appreciate everybody. Appreciate Sam Klein's the second tapping in with his man G's up for sure.
I think he is back. Sorry, coach. We know that connection is bad. Not your fault. You good, coach. No worries, man. I know how it is, coach. But yeah,
Swanee, man, you've been to Swanee Sports, man.
It's rough.
It's rough. We know it's rough.
Yeah.
They gotta put a booster or a tire out there or something.
Back.
Well,
But we'll do a couple more before we let you go, coach. But you were just talking about how cool it was to see everybody pour back into kind of the players. So I guess kind of going off of that, coach, where do you feel like the sport of basketball is currently right now in high school? Let's start with the state of Georgia and just overall. What's your overall thoughts on how the game's progressing?
I think the talent is at an all time high, right? I don't. It's weird. Like I know everybody's training and working on their games. I don't like. I'm gonna sound like an old guy, man, but I remember like way back when, like when you used to go somewhere and hoop, right? You mess around and lose, you gonna have to wait about an hour to get back on the court. Now so many places for them to play, like they develop bad habits, just running up and down and all that. Like I think the talent these days is at an all time high. The athleticism and all that. I just think I mean a lot of cats don't really know how to compete. They just out there playing. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, when you play to win. So I think if one thing these teenagers could kind of recalibrate their focus on is, at the end of the day, it's about winning. So do what you need to do to win the game. Like a lot of the cats, like you mentioned Jakari Harris earlier, he one of the reasons he was on the court so much for Purdue last year was because he was doing things outside of scoring the basketball, right? I think individual scoring can sometimes be one of the most inflated stats in basketball because I mean you shoot the ball enough times you're gonna score points, right? Like what else are you doing to influence winning? You know what I mean? I think some of the guys could kind of like try to get back to being focused on winning the game or whatever, but it's hard, like because if you get your numbers, you know what I'm saying, you might mess around and get an NIL deal and all that. You get enough clicks online, for your highlight plays and stuff like
Right.
that. But once you get to the next stop, I feel like, the elite programs in the state, like it's about winning, right? But like once you get to the next stop, it don't matter what school you're at. Like it's gonna be about winning, and they're gonna get you up out of there.
If you don't mind me asking, Coach, I know you're talking about just recalibrating the brains and the ability to compete. But as a coach, let's say nobody's on your team is like this, but let's say hypothetical. Somebody comes in very individualistic. They scored 15 points in their last stop, whatever. They come to you. They don't really care about the other part of the game. They just want to score. Like, how do you approach that as a coach?
I mean, if you don't care about winning, you can't play for me. if you're not interested in doing the things it take to win the basketball game, man, I can't play you. Simple as that. Like, you might be talented enough to make the roster, but my coaches tell me, just because you dress up for Halloween don't mean you get candy. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
you know what I mean? You might get a jersey or whatever, your talent to get your foot in the door, but if you're not doing things to help the team win, you're not going to play.
There it is again. Swanee Sports Academy. Gotta love it. Oh, man, we gonna let him ride though, because I don't want to mess up his flow, man. He did to see his son, so I don't want to mess up his flow.
100%. I understand that, man. We appreciate Coach Pierce coming on, man. Much respect, much love, man. Everybody knows about what the G does. Excited to see these guys this year, man. 100%.
For sure. See if he clip back on. If he do, we just gonna give him his thanks. Any last words you gotta say and let him ride.
All right.
He messing him up.
Hey, spoken like a seasoned journalist, brother.
For sure.
I think it just.
All right, last thing. I think he clicked back on. We're gonna let him ride.
That's tough. Fingers is typing.
Yeah, that's it now.
Excuse me. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, if you tapped in, definitely stick around. We're talking a lot of more hoop news. We're talking, Sandy Creek. Jabari Smith had his jersey retired, so we'll talk about that. Even on down to the NBA news, talking about, how we're feeling about the season, talking college basketball, the AP poll, talk 25. So stick around, man. So once we know that Coach G is either back to the arena or coming on to say his last words, we'll go from there.
One sec, Bacon. He's responding.
Yeah, all good, brother. All good.
All right, good to go, Bacon.
All All right, there we have it, folks. Like I said, man, we hope you enjoyed that that insight, from Coach Geoffrey Pierce, man. But we're gonna slide in transition to another upstanding basketball program. So last night, Jabari Parker, surprisingly, I don't think anybody expected him to bring his the whole Houston Rockets team with him, even the head coach. But as they retired his jersey last night at Sandy Creek, you see Coach Nickerson right there on the mic. He got a little emotional, the two. So that just shows what type of relationship the two had. And interesting enough, Coach Nickerson called Jabari Smith playing all 4 years at a high school place where he grew up at, a dying breed. So, brother, when you hear that about players, that being a dying breed of just players growing up in the system and graduating and coming back, I'm saying, where does your mind go?
Yeah, I think it's a good point, Bacon. Sometimes you see players like they'll go graduate and then, they won't come back to the school or give back. I think you have a difference in Jabari Smith. And the crazy part is he's only been in the league for a couple of years, right? I think maybe 3 or 4 years so far, man. But, a guy that played really high basketball at Auburn, obviously before getting drafted by Houston, still trying to relish into a role now. But, I think it's rare. Like you said, we said a few podcasts ago, guys are going to prep school leagues, right? They're leaving, and I understand it. You want higher competition, but it kind of dilutes a little bit the high school game, right? But luckily, we got to see when we first started getting in, Bacon, like the Stephon Castles, the Isaiah Colliers, the Ace Baileys the year after. We've seen those guys stay in the high school teams and continue to flourish and still play high quality basketball and not leave, right? But at the same time, I get the players doing it. But like you said, he is one of one because everyone is leaving. When you're talented, you're a 5-star. You're trying to play national hoops. But he was one of those guys that was highly rated that stayed there, played, obviously led them to wins and stuff like that, and had that team playing at a high level. So it speaks to the player he is, man. Obviously the magnificent talent he was, and one that's going to always be revered and remembered in Sandy Creek hoops.
100%. I believe Jabari is the first and only only basketball player to ever come through Sandy Creek's program to have his jersey retired. I'm sure there'll be 1 or 2 more that played in the same class to have their jersey retired. So, but if you want to watch the full video, obviously you can tap into OSC 247 on his YouTube page and exclusive production to get the behind the scenes action. But before we move in, man, I'm sure you've seen it, man. What do you think about him bringing in the whole Houston Rocket team to come watch his ceremony?
I think that speaks to just, like I said, the person he is, man. Wanting to involve everybody and where it all started for him, and the kind of collective team effort. I'm saying, in the sense, visiting his small town where he became a name, right, where he was able to make it to the league. So that just shows the relationship he has with everybody, how much they mess with him, and like I said, it's just a family effort, a family type of feel and event when you can do that, and it speaks, like I said, it speaks to the character, person he is, and what he really stands for. And I think that's why he did that. And some of those same teammates got to see, okay, hey, he did it. Maybe my high school will do the same,
I'm saying, well said, man. It's not about, how you play, like Coach Jeff said, man. It's about how you, grow and evolve as a man and affect, and affect people. That's what it takes, and that's what you're seeing there at Sandy Creek. But moving on, brother, as a writer for Tennessee, I would expect you, to have a little bit of an insight into Manny Green committing to Tennessee. So, brother, what do you have for myself and the people?
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Kind of came down towards the stretch. Obviously, Tennessee's a program he likes. He feels like he can go and contribute early for them, and obviously make an impact. Top 4 obviously included them. Georgia Tech was in this race as well, but Tennessee just offered him everything he wanted, right? His family, what he stood for, and his goal, Manny Green, is to play at the next level. Not necessarily college. Obviously, he's going to play that, but he wants to make it to the league, and he feels like Tennessee is one of those programs that best fits him and allows him in order to do so. And I can't disagree with them. They've always had great guard play. He fits the build, the physicality, the ability to put the ball on the floor, score, defend at a high level of a Tennessee program. And he's another highly sought after prospect. No, he's not a native mint, but he's a guy that NBA scouts, I think, will salivate over once they see, what he can do with the ball in his hands, how good he can be, and things like that. So he's a special talent. And I think Tennessee really hit a home run, obviously, in landing him.
Nah, definitely. I'm not even gonna say an underrated guard, man. Obviously 4-star. We've seen Manny play multiple times. One of the smoothest players you'll see. Get into the heavy pull ups, got some post moves. You know what I mean? Can score out of the face up game. But just a great overall player. Just a dog in my opinion. Obviously playing on both ends of the court. So we appreciate that insight, brother. As we transition also from Ellenwood, man, from sometimes for the east side of Atlanta, you know what I mean? That comes with his own personality, man. So I'm sure he'll do wonders in Rick Barnes' system in Rocky Top. All right. So I wanted to touch on this topic with Coach Pierce, but we didn't get around to it. But nonetheless, man, an assistant coach of Wheeler, Coach Shepard had this to say about some players, moving on from Georgia to prep schools. He said, newsflash. He said, I see why prep schools, like our kids, we develop, they buy in, and then prep schools come calling after the heavy lifting is done. Newsflash, I promise y'all, not better at development. You have less rules, more funding. We really get busy on 375 Holt Road. Have fun, Colb and Kev. So, brother, what's your thoughts about this quote from Coach Shep?
Coach Shep is right. I don't disagree with anything he said. I mean that's the reality of what we live in right now with high school sports, especially when it comes to hoops and everything like that. Like we live in a world where these guys have to develop, right? These guys have to play at a high level, and they're going through the mud, right? Like Coach Shep said, they're having to train these guys to get to a certain level. Right now, Coben Landrew has always been good, right? Obviously, he's taking that next step. We know he's committed to UConn, but he was not the player that he is today that he was a few years ago or even last year. He's developed a lot. And like he said, what prep schools will see, oh, that's a 4-star prospect. Oh, that guy looks very polished. Let's go get him. He can help us sell tickets. We have more funding. We can bring him in, and he could be a instant contributor for us, and he's going to help us on the national scene, right? So he's right. They're not necessarily doing development. What they're offering him, however, though, is a platform, right? Not saying high schools don't have that, but that's what these kids are getting. They're getting a platform to showcase your skill set nationally pretty much every day, right? And that's similar to what OTE is as well, right? You're getting a national platform where you can be on TV, be on Amazon Prime, showcase your talent, and there's NBA players or scouts or there's college scouts always coming in to be able to see you, and you can get the best fit possible for your journey. So he's 1,000% right. That is what's happening right now. Same with Kevin Savage. He's always been a good player, but it's taking that next step forward. He talked about this summer, obviously wanting to work on the defensive side of the ball, and we've seen that with some of his ability defensively, getting steals late in the game, hitting down, knockdown shots on the AAU circuit. So he's 100% right. They're getting the players from the top programs, and they're stealing them away, paying them money. And if you're a player, I get it. Why would I not want to go to a program where I could be on the national scene, elevate my brand even more, and continue to do that? So part of it is, like he said, the prolific schools are not prolific. The prep schools having that money to fund them. And part of it also, too, is the player wanting to be more on the scene and be seen as well. So it's two dynamics you're really working with when you break it all down, unfortunately. And sometimes they feel like the high school programs can't really offer them everything they want or they're looking for, which, it goes back to, you gotta be able to put these guys on a platform, which is why we go back to, like, we see more streaming. We talked about Coach Gibbons. You see SUV TV, right? You see different platforms, which is why I think our state, Georgia, has to do a better job of, putting these guys on that platform consistently, because they got all the tools. You got GPB, what I'm saying? You got Peachtree, so the top matchup should at least, as a bare minimum, be on TV. So these kids have a platform where they can be seen, right? I think if you can offer more of that in these states at these high schools, I don't think you will see them leave as much. And saying back to your point real quick, Bacon, as I wrap up, the videographer piece of it as well, right? The behind the scenes look that you can see, having somebody go with the team, because then they can get that grits, that grind, right? Everybody sees the glamour of it all, but don't see the grits and the grind and all the work you have to put in to get to that level. You hire a videographer, he can show what it's like every day going through the mud and different things like that can elevate the high school program and what they mean. Why do you see Grayson so good and they can usually keep their players? Why you see Wheeler so good and they can keep their players? Is because they have people that elevate them. They have a social media presence. They're known programs, but they do right by the athletes.
Yeah, that's facts. I know we talked about this on previous pods multiple times. Like they had our in-state media, you know what I'm saying? We see what it does for Georgia high school football. What we got to do, they got to do the same thing for basketball, or you know what I'm saying? It's going to be a different dynamic, and I'm sure you know what I'm saying. Guys like Coach Pierce, Gainesville, you know what I'm saying? Coach Thompson at Wheeler, you know what I'm saying? I'm sure they may be reaching out, you know what I'm saying, to the TVAs. That's like, hey, we need y'all to do y'all part as much as we're doing our parts to develop these kids, but we got to give them a platform, you know what I'm saying, to put them out there so they want to stay in state. And you know what I'm saying the videographer side is, like I said, that's a big piece. That's a way where you kind of control your own, you can control your own destiny to a certain degree. You know what I mean? If you want to lock down that content for coaches and start the team's YouTube page, not you get YouTube page. That way, you know what I'm saying? You gotta look at it as digital currency, but for media, so digital media. You know what I'm saying? You're putting a documentary of the school or just clips of the school or the program on YouTube, and you know what I'm saying? You making it's a recruiting tool that's working for you when you sleep, and it's a revenue stream that's coming in while you sleep too. And that's two things that's going hand in hand. We talked as Coach Shep talked about. More money, that's the way you can increase your profitability too. But that's another discussion you got to have with the creator too. But yeah, I think the ball is rolling too. You know what I'm saying, to get it going in Georgia, because you know, so nobody wants to see these great players continue to leave the state and go elsewhere, even if they're going down the street to play at OTE. All right, so we're gonna move on, man. We're gonna highlight some players, man. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to highlight some more players other than the big time players. I think we do a decent job right now, but you know what I'm saying? Just do it a little more. So I was on Kyle Sandy's page last night, getting these topics together, and Jordan Smith of Hiram, you know what I'm saying, saw he had a write up on the young man. So we'll talk about the write up and we'll go straight into his game. Very talented, I might add. So Kyle Sandy on Jordan Smith lean cut guard, has combo guard feel to his game, really good speed with the ball in open floor, gets to the basket off the bounce, able to finish through traffic, moves well without the ball, scores through multiple cuts. You know what I'm saying, throughout the day, found much success on drive. Jordan Smith is very athletic, played on the Puma circuit this summer. So, you know what I'm saying, we'll go over his film for a couple clips. And you know what I'm saying, we'll kind of just evaluate him. You know what I'm saying? Definitely, if you're watching in the comments, don't hesitate to, you know what I'm saying, to chime in and get your thoughts as well.
Come on.
I believe Jordan's in the corner right here. So you'll just notice, man, just a very quick twitch. Don't want to get any copyrights here. Just very smooth, very quick, obviously strong. So when it goes to the contact, shouldn't bother him. Nice right-handed floater right there. So I'm seeing just a very skilled guard, as you see, still underrated. You know what I mean? I think he's going to have a big season this year, and he's a 2026 guard. So we'll see where his recruiting takes off. So I think it'll do wonders. But what do you think about Jordan Smith's game?
Yeah, just off the quick clips, like just ability to create his own shot. Obviously, being comfortable in the offense, put the ball on the floor so far. Looks like he can shoot that corner shot as well and be able to spot up too. So just being able to score in a plethora of ways, I would say.
I'm saying we'll do a couple more. This one is from Commerce, Georgia. Taylor Clark is a young lady. Where did she play at last year? Where she play at? I can't remember right now, but I think it's in the write-up. But let me 1 second. So like I said, Taylor Clark, 5'8" guard. Very skilled, can shoot it. Back home, like I said, from Lakeview Academy. You know what I'm saying? Back home at Commerce. She's an impact maker. She will be an impact maker and an all-state candidate right away. I watched her grow yearly as she's been a regular at showcase camps in this area. Southpaw, left-handed, has been an elite defender since her freshman season. She picked up full court and has an uncanny ability to move her feet and anticipate where the ball handler is going. And I see her take the ball out of multiple players during this run. So we'll tap in and see what she's got. The steal right there, you know what I mean? Just has natural instincts in playing both sides of the court. Again, there, man. You know what I'm saying? You don't catch too many that just takes the ball right out of the offense, right out of the guard's hands like that. So that definitely caught my attention here against Etowah. Again, here just a defensive menace. Another steal. Let's see if we can get some offense going. That's her previous high school here, Lakeview. We'll run a couple more clips. All right, so man, obviously off the muscle, you can just see the defensive prowess. Obviously, you see the jump shot needs a little tweaking. You know what I mean? It's a little stiff and a little forward, but nonetheless, man, you got to see the upside to her game. What do you think, my friend?
Yeah, I think great ability on the defensive side of the ball. Obviously, like you said, just learning, probably, like I said, jumper's a little bit stiff, but she has an ability in the fast break to get easy layups and points. Looks like a very refined game, but like I said, jumper, probably tweaking that a little bit. But other than that, I mean, she's what you want defensively for sure.
100%. I couldn't agree more with you, man. Last player we're going to shed some light on is Christian Riviere from Alpharetta. I really liked his game. Really works in off off Laker cuts. So it was pretty much just a give and go. But I really like how he drives to the cup, can really finish from weird arm angles, you know what I'm saying? Bring it to the waist on up. But you know what I mean? I really like his game. Probably one of the most underrated players in the state of Georgia. Not too big, but the brother can play. Just got he just got grit to him. Nice spin layup. It's a double clutch with the left. Jab and go. Cut through traffic. A little English on the finish. Again, this is that 360 next play in Marietta. The home that School Henderson built. So shooter, man, we'll do one more clip here. This is a smooth game, man. Really understands how to play the game. You can tell he's got a lot of time on the court. As you saw with his hand, keeping the defender at bay before he takes the shot. So, brother, you know what I mean? What do you think about Mr. Riviere?
Yeah, man, a guy that, skilled, obviously, not the biggest guy, but has, a whole bunch of different finishes around the rim that obviously helps him. Ability to create also off the bounce, off the dribble. Just smooth game, man. Very smooth game.
100%, ladies and gentlemen. That's like I said, as this show goes forward, we'll probably highlight a couple of players, that's underrated that needs some attention. That's going to be probably playing pro ball in the future. So, that'll include our highlight player segment. And we're going to talk about, somebody who played for Wheeler. We already talked about him, Coben Landrew, man. I saw a possibility of him going to UConn. I thought he was going to go to Louisville. But it's hard to turn down. Darren Hurley, the reports are that he wanted, once he canceled his visit, once he canceled his OVs to Auburn, and I think Auburn and Alabama. Originally from Mississippi. Didn't know that till last night. But it's just, what's your thoughts on him committing to Darren Hurley and the UConn Huskies?
Not a surprise, man. Second time that Dan Hurley has came in Georgia and gotten an elite prospect. We look at it in terms of what he's been able to build at UConn. He obviously knows how to recruit at a high level, recruits this state at a high level. Previously it was Stephon Castle. We see what he was able to do in his first year there, leading them into a championship, getting a lot of minutes, got more minutes as the season wore on. So not too surprised, man. Dan Hurley knows what he's doing. And if he wants you, he one of the few coaches I would put with a Calipari, with a Todd Golden. I would put in that conversation that, if he wants you, you definitely make sure that you go there, because he's going to coach you hard. It ain't going to be easy days. And for one, you're going to be a better player at the end of the day. So I think it's a great decision from Coben. Obviously, Louisville has a great program. They're ranked nationally right now. We'll talk about that more in obviously our college basketball segment. But a great landing, man. This is a kid that was really underrated. You know, I wouldn't say came onto the scene, but continue to get exposure from the right people, the Swiss cultures of the world, on 3 rivals, and that kind of elevated his stock more. Because everybody was like, well, why didn't this kid rate it? Because remember, he was kind of to a degree spied a little bit when it came to ESPN. They didn't have him ranked high. I don't think they had him in the top 60. I remember I was talking about that on the show, Bacon. So to see like that happen, to see where he is now, I think says a lot. And it's a kid that's definitely can help him out a lot, you know, at the next level.
100%, man. I think the reason why the ESPN slided him being down there in Alabaster, yes, it's Birmingham, Alabama. You know what I'm saying, the home of Joe Tipton, but going to Alabaster playing for Thompson, I think he was still in limbo of playing football and playing basketball. So you can't really build that type of resume you want to at a school like Thompson that's known for football. So him taking that leap, going to betting on himself, going to Wheeler, playing in Marietta, having that light shine on him, did wonders for his recruiting. You know what I'm saying? This is just a product of it. So 6'5". Also, before we move on, he's getting some comparisons. Obviously, you brought up Stephen Castle. Don't think that's the right comparison. I see it in him being 6'5", being a bigger guard. But when you look at Clover Landry's game, who does he remind you of?
Hard to say. I can't really give you a name. I don't think his game reminds me of anybody. I think he's unique enough. Yeah, he's just him. I wouldn't say his game reminds me of really anybody.
Gotcha. I'm gonna go Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas. But we will transition, ladies and gentlemen. That's all the topics for high school basketball. And we will transition into college basketball. I see you got some added topics in here, but I like that. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I had to add you in some. I seen you had. I was like, okay, Baker did a good job with these topics, but I was scrolling. I seen a bunch. I was like, man, we could easily talk about this. It's gonna be an easy little parlay, man. So I was like, at least we'll beef up the college basketball segment, and you know, college basketball right around the corner too. So I was like, this
exactly.
It's a perfect segment, man. But I want to get your reaction on this one, man. I did a reaction video on this AP poll, college basketball. So I kind of gave my reaction, but what's your thoughts on this initial poll as it came out? Obviously, a few weeks away from the season, less than 3 weeks, I believe, for most people. So what's your reaction to this top 25 from the AP poll?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good overall AP 2025 poll, man. I think there's some teams that are being underrated right now, but you know what I mean, that's just how it goes, man. You gotta sometimes a lot of people go for the hype, which I understand, man. But I think the top 3, top 4, really right off the bat, you know what I mean, you know it's going to be Purdue, Houston, and Florida. UConn in some type of order, some type of fashion. Me personally, I'm probably putting Houston there, right? Going Houston 1, going Florida 2, Purdue 3, and we're going to keep UConn at 4.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I think Purdue is a little overrated at 1, but go ahead.
Nah, they never really win anything this year. No. Yeah, they had a lot of people stay. So, but yeah, go ahead, brother.
No, brother. I was just agreeing with you. I think 100% right when you say Purdue should be at 4.
Yeah, they never really win anything, but they got a lot of guys returning. I like the guard they got. Can't remember his name right now. The post they got. Then they got. Like I said, they always have a good squad, but it never really pans out. I expect them to be gone. You know what I mean? Elite 8, Final 4. But you know what I'm saying, for the Boilermakers and their fan base, I hope they you know what I'm saying, get the job done this year, man. But out of the top 4, I would say I like Florida. I think Xavier Lee at Florida, I think is one of the best shot makers in college basketball to me. Not really getting the notoriety that he deserves on some lists, but I think that'll change. All that being said, that Boogie Flan, what's Coach Golden right at Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Coach Golden has already announced that Boogie Flan will assume the point guard roles, and Xavier Lee will replace him when he's on the bench. But moving on, man, St. John's at 5, solid. Some people say it's overrated, but I like what Coach Rick Pitino's doing. You know what I mean? It's got Ian Jackson there, bringing the hometown kid home. What more can you say there? Duke at 6. You know what I mean? If they were more senior laden, I would put him at 5, honestly.
5's high, bro. I think 6 is good, man.
6 is good.
A lot of them, they weren't even in the top 10. I know he was like, yo, we're not going to put Duke in the top 10.
Right. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. 6 is good. I agree with you, brother. You know what I mean? But I think as the season progresses, I think, you know what I'm saying, when they win, you know what I'm saying, do what they need to do, prove themselves, I think Duke is a top 5 team. 7, Michigan. I need to do more research on what Michigan has, but in order for I see they have them at 7. I know we got the transfer from UAB, who I said plays like Jason Tatum. So you know what I'm saying, 7 for Michigan, a respected program. That's fine with me. Brigham Young, BYU, AJ DeBonta, ready to see it. Another talented group. Kentucky at 9. I mean, like I said, this is a good list, but so I'll get to the teams who I believe are underrated in my opinion. Tennessee, which I'm sure you'll dive deeper into. Kansas, De'Aaron Peterson, an international big. I'm always been high on Cole Rosario. This is a team that I really like. Also want to bring up about BYU. They got a transfer in from the JUCO. I think the top JUCO transfer. It's got that John Morant feel. So I'm excited to see how everything meshes at BYU. But I think Kansas, Tennessee are heavily underrated in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I would definitely say they're very underrated. I'm gonna go Auburn too at 20. I know they lost some pieces. No more Janai Broom, but you bring back Tahad Pettiford. You bring some guys from the portal. I think Auburn will be better than what people think this year. So I also would agree that 20, they're a little bit underrated. UCLA at a 12. I know they got some pieces. That's a little high for me for UCLA. We'll see what happens with them. But a little bit high. The most intriguing team I want to watch this year is Texas Tech. I want to see how good Christian Anderson, who we've seen a couple times in person, Bacon, how good he's going to be. He's expected to be a big-time shot maker for them and take a big step forward for them this year, man. So I can't wait to see what he's able to do in the Big 12, along with a BYU in there with DeBonsta, who we talked about, and obviously, all the great teams there, the Baylors, and all the great teams in the Big 12.
Nah, that most definitely, man. I'm gonna touch on Arkansas before it trans. I'm always Coach Calipari fan. I really like saying replacing Boogie, not Boogie, replacing Boogie Flame, still bringing back DJ Wagner. You know what I'm saying? You bring in Malik Thomas, you bring in Darius Acuff. I'm excited to see how Coach Calipari meshes all this together. An interesting quote today, it's per Bleacher Report. He said he plans on sending, I think, another 25, 30 players to the NBA, changing their lives. But he said when the time comes where he can no longer build a relationship with his players and is more transactional, will be the time he steps away. And you can't blame Coach Calipari for that, I should say. But I think we may start to see that moving forward, man. I think Coach Pierce touched on it tonight. So I think this is maybe writing on the wall. You know what I'm saying? Early, I don't think he sees it just yet, but I mean, we'll see. Coach Calipari has always been one of the best recruiters in basketball, but we see recruiting being more and more transactional than it's ever been, especially in college basketball.
And he got a track record, so it's like you've seen what he's done and the guys he's put in the league. So if that's not enough, and you got to be transactional with me, yeah, I feel him. I don't want to do it no more. I wouldn't. Look at what he's done. Look what he's accomplished. Look at the players he's put in the league. Look at their success in the league. Tells you all you need to know.
So we'll see how it goes, brother. We'll see how it goes. It's unfortunate, but it's the harsh reality. And you know what I'm saying? Kudos to the younger coaches out here that's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to say Dan Hurley. I think he's proven himself. But to a degree, recruiting for certain coaches, even high-profile coaches, is becoming transactional to a certain degree because you got to take care of these players in certain ways.
Facts.
All right, man. But we'll transition. So that's the AP. Our thoughts on the AP Top 25 poll. Interesting enough, man. When I saw this was crazy, man. The NCAA is condoning, and I would say this twice. The NCAA is condoning student athletes to sports bet. Unless I read this wrong, but I read it. I read it multiple times. So let me see. NCAA, this is per Bleacher Report. Obviously, I'm sure I'll see the logo. NCAA Division I leadership has adopted a proposal to allow student athletes and athlete department members to bet on professional sports. The NCAA announced Wednesday. Now it's not all the way. It hasn't all the way been approved. They're waiting on Division II and D3, but I just don't like allowing players to bet on the game. I think that's what we see in the MLB. While Pete Rose is not in the Hall of Fame, is just shaving points or doing whatever. Money gets involved. I mean, I'm saying they say money is the root of all evil, and I think this is a way to segue the root of all evil into college basketball, my friend. But when you saw this, what did you think about the headline?
Yeah, I don't like it either. I think, if you're an athlete, you shouldn't be able to, now if you're not in play or, obviously you want to the next level, sure. But if you're playing, I don't think you should be able to bet. especially in your sport. Now, if you want to do it in another sport of football, whatever, sure. But in the own sport of college basketball, or obviously this is pro basketball, I think it just sends the wrong message. I don't think they should be able to compete or do that. You got prize picks, you can use that. You're predicting, you know what I'm saying? That's not necessarily you actually sports betting. So I definitely think that is something that's not beneficial, for the sport and obviously for the sport of basketball, for them to be able to do that. So definitely not something I'm in favor for.
Absolutely, man. And these are tomorrow's NBA stars. And we saw Miles. That was not my Porter, who was a former player of the Denver Nuggets. His brother got popped and got banned from the NBA. So what is that saying to those players who got clipped? You know what I mean, for sports game, and we'll let tomorrow's NBA stars do it. But the field of 68, man. They dropped their top 10 2026 NBA draft prospects. De'Aaron Peterson for Kansas at number 1. Cam Boozer. DeBonce had 3. But brother, what's your thoughts on this top 10 list? Should anybody be moved around and rated from 1 to 10 when you get done with that?
Excuse me. I think it's pretty solid. Sorry. I think it's pretty solid, if I'm being honest. Mikael Brown's good. I can't wait to see what he's going to be able to do with Louisville. He's the reason why they're going to be so good this year, and take the next step. They're number 11 ranked, obviously, in the country. So I definitely think it's something that's good, and definitely something that he should be able to do this year. DeBonster, I like him at number 3. He's a guy, if he can get them to a tournament. They made the tournament last year, and he can play high level basketball. He could soar up. Excuse me. Nate Amit's a little low for me at 6. I think I put him around that 3-4 range. I think he's going to be a big time contributor this year with Jacob Gillespie and obviously all the pieces they have for Tennessee Volunteers. Caleb Wilson's another one I like a lot. I'm glad he made top 10. 7 is a little low for me for him too. But I think he's going to be a big impact for the Tar Heels. And the name to watch on this one is going to be Jaden Quintanance. Bacon, actually, I got a statistic I want to show you here actually real quick too. This is reported by Joe Tipton. But it shows, obviously, how important and critical this is, man. But, it's going to be a lot of pressure on Kentucky this year. And this is one of the reasons why. They're paying $22 million vacant for their roster. Now, we've seen that in college football with, like, Ohio State, and we've seen that with, obviously, Texas Tech. It better work. And I think Jeff Goodman brought up a good point. If they don't make a Final Four, it's a bust of a type of season. It's Final Four bust. You're paying that kind of money in the payroll to get Jalen Lowe, Quentin Nance, Jasper Johnson. Obviously, you got Utega Uwe. You got all these pieces. If you don't win, then you know what I'm saying? That's not something fans going to want to see. The boosters are going to want to see. So I like Mark Pope. I just think this is a lot of pressure on him to win and win at a high level when he's just kind of getting his feet wet still with the program. You know what I'm saying? Did a good job last year. But
did a great job.
Did a great job. But like to win, that's asking a lot. Final Four appearance right out the gate, second year.
Yeah, man. $22 million is a lot. We just talked about college basketball becoming more and more transactional. This is proof in the pudding right here. I will say, I know we had not a lot of big names last year. Obviously, Otega Uwe, I think is been projected to be the SEC Player of the Year. It's a lot of pressure on Mark Pope, but I don't think it's a shot in left field to pencil Kentucky in for a Final Four bid. I know, you know what I'm saying, once you get down to that Elite 8 round, you know what I'm saying, it's got to work. But this is a lot of money. I wouldn't necessarily, you know what I'm saying, hold the gun to my head and pull it. But, if you got to do what you got to do, man, you follow in the Coach Calipari era, man. You gotta continue to feed these fans what they want. I think this is just a product of it. But I think Coach Mark Pope will be fine this year, man. But going forward, let's try to you know what I'm saying, trim it back, Coach. But that is an interesting stat though, for sure.
100%. Yeah, I want to get your reaction to that. But yeah, back to the real quick, and I'll pull it up. But back to obviously just those athletes. Do you think who should be moved up? Who should be moved back in your opinion?
So I like Cam Boozer at 2. I just think, man, not even in the Duke system. I just think that Cam Boozer's is I'm going to say more polished, and I don't want to come out the wrong way. I think AJ DeBonce is polished. We saw him working with lethal shooter during the offseason, but just being as strong as Cam is, and obviously being the son of a former NBA player, I just think he's more of a safer bet, especially playing at Duke, playing for Coach Shire. I think it's less of a eyebrow raiser to me to put Cam Boozer at 2, but I like DeBonce at 3. Some people scratch their head at Darren Peterson being a number 1, but I think that's fine. I like Babatunde. I like Tunde Youssef. Not a lot of people really know about him right now, especially playing at Baylor. I think he had a good game. Was it last night? But I agree with you. It's tough, man, to really kind of. I'm gonna put Native Man over Tunde. I honestly will put Native Man over Michael Brown. So I put Native Man at 4, Michael Brown at 5, and then so far on down. And I guess you would just keep Caleb at 7, and I'll run it like that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But good list though, man. Good list from the guys at 88. But we'll keep things rolling. Preseason all Big 12. Another good topic by you, brother. I'm sure we're going to talk about brother Christian Anderson here. Let's see. Christian Anderson makes the preseason all Big 12 team. JT Toppin, of course, the Bonsa, Richie Saunders, Darren Peterson, PJ Haggerty. A lot of guys from the Houston team. So not a surprise to see this list just as it is, man. But you gotta be pleased with this list, though, right, brother?
Yeah, I think this is good. Obviously, the preseason Big 12. I think they did solid, right? It's going to be a big year for Emmanuel Sharp. You're going to be asked to do a little bit more. You bring back Milos Uzan, so that should obviously help you out a lot. A very senior-laden team again for Houston. So they're one of those teams, like, people might not pick them to go far in terms of the tournament again, like how they did last year, but a team that you can mess around, find yourself, they're in the Final Four again, right? Houston has that with all the leadership and the guys they brought back this year, and obviously the coach that they have as well, man. So they're definitely a team, I believe that should be in that combo as a team to watch for, right? Darren Peterson, we've talked about him. The name of this list nobody's talking about is PJ Haggerty, right? It's been a little bit while since, obviously Kansas State has been a very good team, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's expected to be that primetime player for them, this year, and obviously helping them get back to what they want to do and obviously what they want to accomplish this year. So he's going to be a name to continue to watch moving forward and see what he's able to do. Christian Anderson, obviously talked about him. I'm interested, though, the pairing of him and JT Toppin. Right, last year they had a guy that ended up transferring out. I believe he's at NC State now. But how do those two pair, obviously, in the front and the backcourt, and can they complement each other well? We know Anderson's going to be having that shooting prowess. We know he's going to be obviously a great player, but do they have enough around him in order to kind of help that part out? So he's going to be one for sure I'm watching for, but overall solid list.
Leave it at that. I agree. Top 10. What we're waiting on, man. We get to talk a little Georgia Tech basketball for the Yellow Jackets fans that's in the cut, man. We're gonna talk about Cam Craft. I seen this list. I peeked at it prematurely to the show start. I'm like, all right, brother. I check off the box for you, brother. Gold star. But Andy Cad's top 10 3-point shooters. Tyler from Belmont, Solo Ball, Josh Hubbard, Mississippi State, Abdi Bashir from Kansas State, OB, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth. Isaac McKinley from Louisville, and Cam Craft at 10. Not real familiar about this list, but after seeing Cam Craft drop 40 last year, I'm gonna say he needs to be high just off the 40 ball, man. But what's your thoughts on this list?
The crazy part about this stat, for him is, he obviously, for Craft, he's the third highest shooter on this list, right? He shot it at 43.1%. Two other guys on this list shot it higher. So he shot the highest 3-point percent in this game. So he's definitely a player that needs to be higher on this list, to your point. And it was a problem last year for, obviously Georgia Tech. They had those lows, Bacon, if I'm being 100% honest with you. They needed a bucket. So you got a guy that's basically a bucket getter. He can spot up, he can shoot off the dribble, and really he's a microwave, Bacon. So to have a top 10 shooter and have a guy you can get the ball to in space and he can do his thing, it says a lot. So I actually did an article on him as well. I think it's about to drop here in a little bit, about 45 minutes. But just him being listed on this list says a lot. And for Georgia Tech to be able to go in the portal and go get this says a lot. You know what I'm saying? So he's a guy. Solo ball is going to really help out that UConn team. Remember, they got Silas Demiri as well. They're going to have, obviously, a Caravan as well. When you have lethal shooters on the outside, when they're getting that pressure and they're trying to lock in on Demiri and things like that, that helps you if you're UConn. So he's a player I think should be rated higher as well. And then I would go with Josh Hubbard of Mississippi State. Now, Tech plays Mississippi State this year. Again, not a team that everybody thinks is going to do well, but when you have another lethal shooter in a Hubbard that doesn't take much to get him going, that definitely helps you. So those are the three I would talk about. And then Isaac McNeely, you pair him with a Mikael Brown. Think about Mikael Bacon being able to create offense for you. ISO, then you got a player you can get the ball out to in McNeely that can knock down big-time shots. So really good list. And for those that ain't following ball, like I said, the main ones to watch, Finkelstein, you wanted to go NCAA March Madness with Andy Katz, Field of 68, any of them 3 or 4, and obviously Joe Tipton, they're going to get you right for hoops, man. So definitely follow them throughout the year. I will be. They're going to have all kinds of stuff. They're experts with this stuff. And obviously with the ever-changing landscape of college basketball, they're going to have you ready to go and knowledgeable. So I thought it was a good list. It shows the job that Stoudemire did in the portal.
Absolutely. Pair that with Kwesi Reeves. I mean, it's gonna. I think, like I said, man, that this Georgia Tech group is gonna be hell to deal with come this season, man. And that Mississippi State matchup, like you mentioned, is gonna be must see TV.
Real quick, Bacon, we're about to move on, but I want to break down this real quick as we move on. I just want to get your thoughts real quick on Georgia Tech's basketball schedule. They had a game that got moved from December 29th to the 28th on Sunday, doubleheader with the boys and the girls. Girls is first, boys is second. But I want to pull up their basketball schedule. Just your early thoughts. I think, to me, Bacon, that the ACC is going to be a lot better this year. But I want to get your honest thoughts real quick when we look at this schedule. And there's not a lot of quad one wins in there for Tech. So this is a team that going into AC play at the end of the year, Bacon, they should have a really good record in my opinion. But what's your reaction to this schedule? I only see 2 maybe quality wins if they win on this schedule. But what is your thoughts?
I was hoping. Well, let's start with Georgia. I think Georgia's a sleeper team. You know what I mean? They're playing SEC basketball. They got what's the name's little brother playing for the Hawks right now? Asa Newell's little brother. You know what I mean? They got obviously Jeremiah Wilkerson. You know what I mean? It's gonna be a big piece of that team. I'm not saying we may look back on that Georgia win, but like, okay, I think Georgia's gonna be tough this year. I'm not saying that they're like a top 20 team, but they may be on the cusp of being a top 30 team when it's all said and done. We look at Duke. People call me crazy for this. I think any game in the ACC, Georgia Tech can come in and win on any given night, and I think that's what's gonna keep them in the hunt. I expect Georgia Tech to have a stellar record this year, but Duke is winnable. Miami, I think that's a slept-on win, but to your point, there's not a lot of quad one wins. North Carolina may be a big game. That's gonna be that game in Louisville are must wins for Georgia Tech. But yeah, I agree with you, but there's not a lot of quad one wins. There's like some potential top 25 teams. Mississippi State, that's gonna be a big win for them. But those 3 to 4 games, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you, Big, and that's why I want to get your point. I wrote about a little bit. There's not a lot, right? Georgia and Mississippi State is the only 2 non-conference that I think are quality wins for you if you're Georgia Tech. Not all of it is your fault. Obviously, they dealt with some things, as far as they went to play overseas. They have a couple overseas players. There was going to be some problems with them getting back into the country, so they was like, no, we don't want to do that. So obviously that was an aspect for them that played a factor. They had to, some games got canceled, Bacon. So they had to think about that aspect of it as well. So not all of this is Coach Stoudemire's fault. Some of it was just inopportune things that happened to him, and they had to figure out. But to your point, at Duke, I don't know, man. Playing at Duke is going to be hard. But if you want to go get a quad one win, they're likely going to be ranked, right? So that's an easy quad one win for you if you're Georgia Tech, because I think you can be top 30 and you can get a quad one win on the road, right? I think it's if you're at home, it has to be top 25. I think top 30 or top 40, if I'm not mistaken. I go look at the definition. Gives you obviously that quad one win. In my humble opinion. But yeah, that one I think Syracuse is interesting. Bacon. I think they'll be an improved team. I don't know how improved, but they will be an improved team this year. So they're going to be one to watch out for as well. The Miami game I got circled too. Shelton Henderson's been talked about a lot. We'll see if they're an improved team. Bacon 7-24 last year, but they should be a lot better. But the game you skipped over, Bacon. And everybody's talking about in the ACC is NC State. That's the game, Bacon. I know they ain't ranked, but this team is expected to be special this year in the ACC with Will Wade as their head coach and all the pieces they got out of the portal. NC State is expected to be special. That's going to be another big-time game Saturday, January 17th. A must-have-it game for Georgia Tech, I would agree with as well in ACC play. Clemson, we'll see what happens. No Ian Shefflin. He's pledged to play football this year. Haven't really seen him on the field that much, but we'll see how their teams look. Remember, they got Sack Foster out of this 2025 cycle. Bacon, I don't know if you remember from Woodward Academy. So we'll see how good they can be. But Clemson's another team. You obviously brought out North Carolina. 100% agree with you. They're going to be a team that you got to obviously account for. And my last one is Virginia. Virginia is expected to be a lot better this year too, Bacon. So that could be another quality win at home for the Yellow Jackets. So in my opinion, out of these games, Bacon, they got to win probably about 6 or 7 of these games against some of these top ACC opponents. ACC was in the gutter last year. I don't think that would be the case. I think these teams are going to be a lot better. I think you're going to have the Dukes, the Syracuses. I think you'll have NC States, the Louisvilles, the North Carolinas, throw in Tech in there. And I think Clemson are going to be some pretty good teams this year for them. I think the depth this year of the ACC is a lot better than we probably thought going into, obviously, this year, Bacon.
100%. So, like you said, I mean, the ACC will be like a little brother to the always, but at least right now, it will be the little brother to the SEC in terms of the competition that they'll be running through. And when things come to fruition, and we'll look back on however many games Tech wins, they're going to be a shoe-in to make the playoff. I mean, not make the playoff, but make the tournament and potentially win two games in the NCAA tournament. And once you get in the Sweet 16, anything can happen.
Facts. Hold on, I'm counting 8 games. Then they got 18 games at ACC play. I say Bacon, they definitely got to – Bacon, they're going to have to probably win, I say 11 or 12, man, if they want a shot and pick up a couple in the ACC tournament.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I think they got to – it's going to be tough to beat Duke in the ACC tournament, as I said on my video on YouTube. It's going to be tough to beat Duke late in the season. It's best to get a midway through the season, or midway through the season. Once Duke gets that ball roll out, this team they got too much talent. But like I said, I'm not going to rule out Georgia Tech against any ACC team any given night.
They gave them a run for their money last year, though. Remember that first half? They didn't pull away until who they put in the game? Isaiah Evans, right? Yeah. They hung tight. And remember, I mean, you make the argument, Bacon. I mean, probably it's hard to say if this team is more talented than last year's team. That's probably one of the more talented teams Duke has had in a while. Cooper Flag and obviously Con Canoopel, like that team was good, Bacon. Right. And to be able to do that against a lot of pro level players, Malawatch this year that's going to be a contributor for the Suns, says a lot, man. So, and that was a far inferior talented team with Georgia Tech,
right?
So, but good point though. I agree. Good point.
Last year's team was real gritty. This year's team is talent wise, they can really kill you in so many different ways, man. Like you said, Cam Craft, Quasi Reeves, you know what I mean?
Dongo.
The big side by the Dongo, I think is a first team all ACC this year. No question, especially with the guys who can give them space. So I mean, like I said, we'll keep everybody tuned in and tapped in to what's going on in the flats for sure. And the ACC period to all your ACC needs. You can tap into the Just As News podcast on Thursdays at 8:00. Yes,
sir. And during the season, we're gonna try to supply y'all as much as we can. So bear with us. The only reason why we say that, like, Bacon might have a game he has to cover. I might have a game on the flats that I got to cover. So we're gonna try to figure out a way to get that going. Sometimes you might see Bacon solo, and you might see me on the call, or you might see me on here solo and Bacon on the call. But we're gonna try to supply y'all. And sometimes we might have to move the times up or back to supply y'all with the sizzling news. But we plan to have it right all basketball season long.
Right, we gotta find a little emojis so the folks can flood the chat, man. But
it's this one, man. The little drip emoji, man.
We already got one on.
No. Either you do the fire emoji, you can do the drip emoji. Sizzling, you're hot, or you do bacon emoji. Do that too. Sizzling
okay.
bacon, you know what I'm saying? You do that too.
Okay. Like that, I co-sign that, brother. So, moving on from the college basketball news, man. I would have done more topics. I thought we would have had Coach Pierce on for a little bit longer. So, like I said, big shout out to you, brother, for extending those and giving us some more topics to pick from, man. But we're gonna start the NBA. All the NBA talk with LeBron, man. Found out last night I was watching them play the Mavericks, and LeBron's not gonna be back until November, man. And I think I don't remember him having an injury that he was dealing with, but I just think LeBron, year 20, whatever, he's earned it to take some time off, and they're not really gonna need him to start the season, especially when you got Luka Doncic coming in shape. Gabe Vincent last night 5 for 5 from 3. Those people will be like, how consistent will he be? But I think the Lakers will be just fine until mid-November.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think if you're the Lakers, man, you want to see what your team looks like without LeBron, right? This is likely his last year. If he plays another year, sure, it might not be in a Laker uniform.
Yeah.
Yes, it's things that he's out, but this is year 21, right? He shouldn't be your biggest contributor. Yes, he should be contributing to you and helping you out. The man is in his 21st season, about to be 40-something, 41 years old. Like, you need other pieces to step up. You need to see what Luka can do with this group. Okay, hey, when LeBron's gone next year or that following year, whatever it may be, what pieces are we going to get to surround Luka with what he needs to compete for a chip, right?
Mm-hmm.
That should be the conversation. So how does Marcus Smart look, right? Good acquisition for you, contributor, defender, former defensive player of the year, good player, right? DeAndre Ayton, we'll see what happens. So inconsistent up and down, but you needed more bigs, right? Obviously Gabe Vincent up and down all the time. Austin Reeves, has he taken another step of his game forward? A lot of questions about the Lakers, outside of LeBron that we want to see. We know what Luka going to be, right? Luka said he didn't say. He showed with his body transformation that he took this year seriously, right? Which is what we wanted to see, right? But if he don't get that certain call, is he going to be, BITCH in the refs, or he going to go play? You know what I'm saying? That's all we want to see with Luka. And can you buy in enough defensively? You ain't got to be an all defensive player. But if a guy goes past you, can you get back into the play and make a stop? Right? We know what you're gonna give us offensively. We know that. But can this team be relevant without LeBron in the lineup is the question. And you get in a good 3-4 weeks to find that out, which is what I love. So I think this is good for the Lakers long term. See what you got, see how your team look, see how you can perform, and then you'll be good moving forward.
100%. I couldn't agree more, brother. You know what I mean? I really think this Laker team can threaten for a championship this year. You know what I mean? And another acquisition, DeAndre Ayton. But again, man, I'm not expecting too much from Luka on defense. I'm expecting them just to slide and glide.
Slide. That's it. That's all we need. And that's the thing, Bacon. Just buy in. Like everybody talks about, the player I always like to bring up is Steph Curry. Curry will never be a defender ever in his career. Go look at the 2022 run. He bought in though, right? And he improved. He got his body bigger, and he would get isolated, and he would stay in front of the defenders. That's not hard to do. That is, hey, you go ask any basketball coach, any basketball player, what is defense? They always say, Bacon. What do you always say defense is?
So, it's all effort, 100% effort.
Thank you, bro. That's it. That's all we asking for. You ain't got to be the world beating defense. Give us some effort, bro. That's it.
That's it, man. Slide and glide, Luka. And you know what I'm saying? We got some chicken for you. Or we got a brewski. You know you like those, but we'll digress. Anyway, so to my question, brother, do you think the Lakers team is a legit contender for a championship this year?
Too early to say, man. Too early. I gotta see what Golden State looks like. They're gonna play them opening night. Obviously, Bacon will probably talk about that a little bit. Last little 30 minutes. I gotta think Golden State. I gotta think what Houston's gonna look like with KD. Pelicans is another team I got my eye on with Zion Williamson. Looks a lot fresher. Not saying they're gonna be world beaters, but a team that you got to keep your eye on. Obviously, I talked about OKC. They're gonna be a team. Spurs is another team for me. I got my eye on Wembanyama. I think they're gonna be a team that you have to watch out for moving forward. So it's hard to say. I got to see what they look like without LeBron early on. After about 3-4 weeks, I can tell you. Right now, I can't say.
Yeah, it might look better without LeBron.
I do.
Moving on, Russell Westbrook. Sorry, I did not mean to say that. I did not mean to say that. Blame Skip Bayless. Russell Westbrook.
You wrong, bro. You wrong. You wrong, bro. You wrong.
He gets picked up by the Sacramento Kings. Well, I don't know why it took so late for Russell to get picked up, man. But what was your thoughts on the late offseason acquisition for the Kings?
Yeah, it's interesting. I should have played that clip from Ennis Freedom, formerly Ennis Cantor. He talked about how LeBron, he feels like ruined his career in terms of, when he played for him or played with him, I should say, in terms of just, how it being all about LeBron and him not conforming, or not even conforming, but him not being able to play in that system alongside him kind of damaged how he's perceived. That's I'm paraphrasing, but that's the kind of the summary of what he said. And he's a Hall of Famer, right? That's just what it is. And I feel like whether he's starting or not, he's a guy that gives you energy, Bacon. He's a guy that's going to play the game the right way. Yes, he can sometimes take bad shots and not have the best shot selection. But one thing with him, you're going to never question his effort and his ability to contribute. He's always going to be able to do that. So I think it did take way too long for him to get picked up. At least the Kings gave him an opportunity. He's on the latter stage of his career. I said with him, just enjoy the ride at this point, right? Enjoy the ride. Try to stay on the West Coast as much as you can. Talked about playing with obviously the Nuggets and the Clippers and how much he enjoyed it because he was there. He can go see his kids' games and he could be involved and stuff like that, even through the heart of the NBA season. So at least he's still staying on the West Coast. Sacramento's not that far from obviously where he's at, and he can see his kids. So good opportunity. I don't know how good the Kings will be this year. I know they got Zach LaVine, him. They had the Montes Sabonis. They got a couple pieces, and then they just re-signed Keegan Murray to a long extension. I don't know if you've seen that, making $140 million, I think, 5 years. So they got pieces around. I just don't know what that translates to winning. But good to see him have an opportunity.
Yeah, 100%. The Kings, you never know with the Kings. Like you look at their team on paper, you know what I mean? DeMar DeRozan. You said they still got what's his name? You just said from the player of the Bulls, play with the Bulls. They still got Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Daquan Plowder for the Hawks fans who remember him bursting onto the scene last year. Isaiah Stevens, you know what I'm saying? Dennis Schroeder, Keegan Murray, you know what I mean? So they got some guys, man, that can play, man. But you know what I'm saying? When you look at teams guys that left, you look at a Tyrese Halliburton who played for the Kings. Like when you look back on it, the Kings had a really good roster, but I'm not sure for whatever reason why they can never put it together out there in Sacramento. But like to your point, man, if I'm Russ, I just come in and do my thing if I'm Russell Westbrook, and just continue to do what I do, man. And hopefully it all comes together for the Kings. They got a roster that really can compete and contend for, I say, a top 10 spot minimum. And so I'm gonna wish them the best, man. It just usually when you think about sending players to just when teams are offloading talent because they can't no longer pay you think about the Sacramento Kings. But I hope they can get it together, man. But
you can't let go of good talent, though, man. I'll put it there for them. You let go of good coaching Mike Brown. I know he didn't have that one season. That got to the playoffs, right? Y'all got close. I think they're knocking off the Warriors. Yeah, so it's like you was in that combo. You wasn't relevant to them. If you got something good, man, stick it out. Now, if it's repeated, it's 2-3 years consistently. Now you're back to just nothing.
See, it sounds like it's an ownership problem. They don't really believe. They may not be basketball owners, right? That's what it sounds like to me. And shout out, I know this is the King topic, but shout out to the Washington Wizards. That owner seems to be taking the game a lot serious. You bring in Marvin Bagley. You know what I mean? You bring in, what's his name? Played at Texas last year. I can't remember his name, but as I've said on the show before, the Washington Wizards should be a much improved team and maybe a playoff team in the weak East. But I want to go back to college basketball real quick because we didn't talk about Tyran Stokes. It seems like his recruitment is going to come to an end. It's around the corner. Doesn't want it per the 68 the 68. I can't remember the actual name of the other company that was just bought out by all three allied rivals.
Field of 68.
Field of 68. Yes, sir. Appreciate that. They said his recruitment is about to come to an end. I mean, just kind of fine-tuning things, see how it's going to go. Kentucky has been labeled as the premier front runner. You know what I mean? Coach Mark Pope throwing down that bag right now. But Kansas is a team that I wanted, you know what I'm saying, to obviously talk about. You know what I'm saying? They're making a late strong push into Tyran Stokes recruitment, man. As we see, they've already got Darren Peterson, you know what I'm saying, a multitude of other players. So that's going to be interesting to see. So I wanted to get your thoughts on Kansas making a late push for Tyran Stokes.
Yeah, man. A shout out to Coach Bill Self. Never out of a race, man. He's one of those few, like, we don't talk about it enough, but he's an elite recruiter, especially in the Big 12 and what the Jayhawks have meant. So he's a player, a coach that he's always in any race, especially when it comes down to that top 5. So I think he sees the talent, know that he's a guy that can contribute to him from day one, and feels like he can coach him up to a level where, he can get Kansas back to that mountaintop. And he probably could be one of those players for him. So we'll have to battle Louisville, Kentucky, and everything like that. But, Kansas is another program. They've shown you a pedigree, a track record of getting guys into the league. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do, how much they offer, or like what they can offer him to make him come. But definitely a decision I think will go probably, easily into November before he makes a decision, man. But, Stokes is one of the best, man. And, for Kentucky, it'd be massive for them.
100%. I'm gonna say I don't care how much money Kansas offers them. I'm sure it won't be too much more, too much less than what they're gonna throw at him at Kentucky. But I think he's gonna go to Kentucky simply off the reason I think he's tired of being 1A, 1B. Like if he goes to Kansas, he's gonna have to share that limelight with Darren Peterson.
He gone next year. Not staying.
Oh, good call. Good call.
This ain't college football, bro. He gone.
That's true. That's a good point. That's a good bring by you. So to that being said, man, he can go anywhere he wants to go, man. That's a great point by you, man. Kind of in my soliloquy there. Yeah, we'll see where it goes, man. We'll see where it goes. It's at that point, it's all up in the air, man. Definitely want to bring that point up for the fans. I'm like, man, they didn't talk about Tyran Stokes. He's about to end this recruitment coming up. We got you. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, brother. But I think you got some more NBA topics you wanted to bring up, brother.
No, I think for the most part that was it. There's not really too much going on. I mean, really just opening day, really for real. Let me find the schedule for that. We can talk about that a little bit since that's next week. But it opens up October 21st.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Update for the Hawks. We're losing right now in 108-98 to the Rockets, but it's preseason. So we're not gonna look too deep into it, but I will give some score updates. Chris Tapp's 40 games this year, maximum. He's got 23 points, 8 for 14 from the field, 6 for 8 from the free throw line, 1 for 3 from 3, double tonight, 23 and 10. Zachary Research had 24 points. Where's Trae Young? Nikhil Walker-Alexander's got 17. Trey's got 12, 10, and ironically 7 rebounds. So that's the update on the Hawks. Let's see if I can bring in one more NBA headline here. I wanted to get your opinion. So you think the Pelicans? Before you forget the Pelicans, you think Zion's going to play a full year this year?
I think he will. The reason I say that is because, like I said, for me, it's when I see you take the weight room seriously, when I see you actually buy in, when I see you, you actually care about how your body looks and you make that transformation. That's why I think Luka's going to be better this year too, because these guys willingly took, their body seriously in the offseason, cut weight, did what they needed to do. And I think humbly, I think it's showing. When you have that, I definitely think, that helps you moving forward. So I think Zion, Luka are going to have some big years because they took the offseason training seriously. And they're guys that they believe they can take that next step in their career. So humbly, yes, I would definitely say so.
I hope so. For Zion, man. I think he's one of the best NBA talents that we haven't seen to come and put his full gamut of skills on display because he hadn't been able to play. I'm not sure, but past maybe 10, 15 games it feels like. So I'm hoping because I'm saying we all want to see great basketball, man. And maybe they'll attract some of the people from just watching highlights, watching the full games like we used to do, man. But all right, well, brother's got some. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I tried, man. They won't load it for the sites for whatever reason, so I only can pull this up. But this opening night. So just what matchup are you excited for? Just your opening thoughts. Obviously, this is the start of the NBC. They're opening night. I think the main thing for ESPN will be the Christmas games. I believe MLK Day. I believe that's the main stuff, and also NBA Finals for ESPN. But NBC is back, so maybe that'll bring some more excitement and insight into it. Because we know back in the day with Jordan and everything, NBC was heavily involved. So maybe that brings more with them being back into the frame.
100%. It's gonna be interesting to see how they use Jordan on NBC, man. If they're gonna bring him in all the time or just bring him in special occasions, which I think is best just to keep the Jordan mystique I'm saying circulating. But I'm excited for all of them, man, to be honest with you. I think this is gonna be the most exciting basketball season we've had in a while. I like the Rockets probably game one. I mean, yeah, game one against OKC. You know what I mean? OKC, they're coming in with, we're getting our range. I know Shea and Coach are going to have them locked in for the game, but I mean, I just think right now at this point in the season, I think the Rockets are going to be a little bit more hungry than Oklahoma City. You know, just because they're still. This is going to put them back in that celebratory mode. I'm sure Shea probably already had that switch turn, but for everybody else, but I like the Rockets at the 7:30 time. Lakers, Warriors. I'm gonna go Golden State, man. Golden State's very hungry. Jimmy Butler, you know what I'm saying? Draymond, they've been whipping butt and dominoes out here. You know what I'm saying? They lock this right now, and you know what I'm saying we got Draymond and Jimmy Butler close. Watch out for the Warriors. So I like the Rockets and the Warriors, but again, man, I'm excited for everything, man. And the Trailblazers are a playoff team.
No way in hell. No way in hell.
I'm trying to tell you, brother, but ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm saying? We squeezed all the juice out of this fruit. Man, hope y'all enjoyed this show, man. We had on Coach Pierce, man. Go watch that pre-recorded, you know what I'm saying, after this live goes off, and definitely let us know what y'all think in the comments. So do 5 things for us when you get to the YouTube handle: like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that bell notification so you can be alerted for all the posts on Najee Wilkin Bacon Network, man. We want to continue to force feed y'all, not force feed, we're going to continue to super serve y'all and give y'all some good information, man. All right, we got a comment. I American, great show, man. Really appreciate you tuning in. Really appreciate you giving your feedback. That's all I got. I'm a pocket pass to my guy Naj, man, for any last remarks.
Yeah, our American brother, we appreciate you tuning in. Obviously on the YouTube, man. Much love, brother. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share it with a friend, man. Tell us some topics you want to see on the show. We pretty much, basketball wise, we hit everything practically. You know, women's basketball, college basketball, high school, and also we hit NBA, man. So we hit a little bit of everything. Any topics you want to see on the show, let us know how we can make it better, how we can make it more entertaining. Let us know, man. We're trying to grow this thing. We know it's obviously a process, but we're starting to feel like that process is starting to churn a little bit, getting obviously some good guests on the show. So whatever you want to see going forward, brother, please let us know. We appreciate all your support, man. We'll be back again next week, Thursday at 8 p.m. Coming up the rest of the week, I know Bacon, you'll be at Northgate Noonan.
Thanks to you.
Northgate Langston Hughes. And obviously you'll be at I think Saturday usually has something going, but we'll be back for our college football recap show Saturday night for about an hour, man, just to talk about everything that happened in college football, and then back on Monday for our football podcast. American, look, man, we definitely been trying. I've reached out a couple times. Bacon's reached out. Great kid. We trying to get him on there. So you know what? I'm glad you brought that up. We're gonna bring him on. We're gonna try to. So stay tuned, man. We're gonna see, both of us gonna try our best and see what we can get from him, and see if we can get him on. But I got you. That's who you want to see. We're gonna try to make it happen for you, brother, and get him on the show.
Absolutely, brother. So that's it, man. Appreciate everybody who's tuned in. We got the 147. I think that's maybe the highest for basketball, man. So as Nas said, we're trending upward. We continue to feed this baby. You know what I'm saying? As it grows old, man. So appreciate everybody tuning in, man. Enjoy the rest of y'all week. You know what I'm saying? If you're going out to football tomorrow, be safe. You know what I'm saying? Love your family. And until next time, it's just as the news, man.